Welcome to Lilogue. Let's improve your English through stories.
A day in the life of a New York nurse. My name is Maria. I am 30 years old. I work as a nurse at Mount Sinai Hospital in New York City. I have been working here for 5 years now. Every day is different, but every day is important. Today, I want to tell you about my typical day working in the hospital. I live in a small apartment in Queens with my roommate Jenny. She is also a nurse, but she works at a different hospital in Brooklyn. We became friends in nursing school 6 years ago. Living together helps us save money, because rent in New York is very expensive. We also understand each other's work schedule and the stress of our job. I wake up at 5:30 a.m. every morning, even on my days off. My body is used to this schedule now. I don't need an alarm clock anymore. The first thing I do is check my phone for any messages from work. Sometimes they need extra nurses, and sometimes there are schedule changes. Today there are no messages, so I know my shift will be normal. Getting ready for work. I take a quick shower and brush my teeth. I always keep my hair in a ponytail because it is more hygienic and professional. I put on my scrubs. Today I choose the blue ones because they are my favorite. All nurses at our hospital wear scrubs, but we can choose different colors. Some nurses like pink, others prefer green or purple. I eat a simple breakfast of oatmeal with banana and coffee. I need energy for my long day ahead. I also pack a lunch, usually a sandwich, an apple, and yogurt. The hospital has a cafeteria, but the food is expensive and not always healthy. Bringing my own lunch saves money and helps me eat better. Before leaving, I check my nursing bag. I always carry a stethoscope, pens, a small notebook, hand sanitizer, and comfortable shoes for emergencies. I also bring a phone charger because my shift is 12 hours long and my phone battery doesn't last that long. The commute to Manhattan. I leave my apartment at 6:15 a.m. to catch the subway. The train from Queens to Manhattan takes about 45 minutes during rush hour. The subway is always crowded in the morning, but I am used to it. I usually find a seat and read a book or listen to podcasts about nursing and healthcare. On the train, I see many other healthcare workers going to work. I recognize some nurses from other hospitals by their scrubs. We often nod to each other or smile. We are all part of the same community, even if we work at different places. Sometimes we talk about our jobs or share stories about difficult patients or rewarding moments. Today, I sit next to an older woman who looks tired. She tells me she works as a cleaner at a hospital in the Bronx. "You nurses work so hard," she says when she sees my scrubs. "Thank you for taking care of people." Her words make me feel proud of my job, even though I know today will be challenging. Arriving at the hospital. Mount Sinai Hospital is huge. It has over 1,000 beds and thousands of employees. I work on the medical floor, which means I take care of patients with various medical conditions like diabetes, heart problems, and infections. Some patients stay for just a few days, others stay for weeks. I arrive at 7 a.m., 30 minutes before my shift starts. I always come early to prepare mentally and review my patient assignments. I go to the staff locker room to put away my bag and get my hospital ID badge. The locker room is always busy with nurses coming and going between shifts. I stop by the nurses' station to check the patient board. Today, I will take care of 6 patients in rooms 312 to 318. This is a normal number for our floor. Some days I have 7 or 8 patients when we are short-staffed, which makes the day much more difficult. Morning report and patient assignments. At 7:30 a.m., we have morning report. This is when the night shift nurses tell us about each patient, their condition, medications, and any problems during the night. I sit with 5 other day shift nurses around a table. We each have a notebook to write down important information. Sarah, the night nurse, tells me about my patients. Mrs. Johnson in room 312 has diabetes and needs her blood sugar checked every 4 hours. Mr. Rodriguez in room 314 had chest pain during the night but feels better now. Mrs. Chen in room 316 is waiting for test results and is very worried about her diagnosis. I write down all the details carefully. Patient safety is the most important thing in nursing. If I forget to give medication or miss important symptoms, it could be dangerous for the patient. I also write down each patient's personality. Some are friendly and talkative. Others are scared or angry about being in the hospital. Starting morning rounds. At 8 a.m., I begin my rounds. I visit each patient to check how they are feeling and give morning medications. I always knock on the door and introduce myself, even if I took care of them yesterday. Good morning, Mrs. Johnson. I'm Maria, your nurse today. How are you feeling? Mrs. Johnson is 65 years old and has been in the hospital for 3 days. She has diabetes and came to the emergency room because her blood sugar was very high. She is feeling better now, but she is worried about managing her diabetes at home. I don't understand all these medications, she tells me. I sit down next to her bed and explain each medication slowly. I use simple words and ask if she has questions. This takes extra time, but patient education is a very important part of nursing. When patients understand their condition and treatment, they get better faster and have fewer problems after leaving the hospital. Medication administration. After talking with Mrs. Johnson, I prepare her morning medications. I always follow the 5 rights of medication administration: right patient, right medication, right dose, right route, and right time. I scan the barcode on her wristband and each medication to make sure everything is correct. Mrs. Johnson takes 4 different medications for her diabetes, blood pressure, and heart condition. I explain what each pill does and answer her questions. Will I need to take these forever? She asks. I tell her that her doctor will discuss the long-term plan with her during rounds later today. Next, I visit Mr. Rodriguez in room 314. He is 45 years old and works as a construction worker. He came to the hospital yesterday with chest pain. The doctors did many tests and found that his heart is okay, but he has high blood pressure that wasn't treated before. Mr. Rodriguez feels embarrassed about being in the hospital. I never get sick, he tells me. I work hard every day. I understand his feelings. Many patients, especially men, feel uncomfortable about needing medical help. I explain that taking care of his health will help him continue working and taking care of his family. Dealing with worried families. In room 316, Mrs. Chen is waiting for test results. She is 58 years old and speaks limited English. Her daughter Amy is with her and translates our conversation. Mrs. Chen had stomach pain for several weeks and finally came to the hospital when the pain became very bad. Amy is very worried about her mother. When will we know the results? She asks me for the 3rd time this morning. I understand her anxiety, but I cannot give medical information that only the doctor should share. The doctor will come to talk with you as soon as the results are ready. I tell her gently. I spend extra time with Mrs. Chen, checking her comfort and making sure she understands what we are doing. Even though we don't speak the same language well, I can see in her eyes that she appreciates my care. Sometimes nursing is about more than medical tasks. It's about being present and showing compassion. Emergency situations. At 10:30 a.m., the alarm bell rings in room 318. This means a patient needs immediate help. I run to the room and find Mr. Thompson, a 72-year-old man with heart problems, having difficulty breathing. His oxygen levels are low, and he looks scared. I immediately call for help and start giving him oxygen. Another nurse brings emergency equipment while I stay with Mr. Thompson to monitor his condition. "You're going to be okay," I tell him calmly. "Just try to relax and breathe slowly." Within a few minutes, his breathing improves and his color returns to normal. The doctor arrives and examines Mr. Thompson. His heart medication needs to be adjusted, but he is stable now. After the emergency passes, Mr. Thompson holds my hand and says, "Thank you for being so calm. I was really scared. These moments remind me why I became a nurse, to help people during their most vulnerable times." Lunch break and reflection. At 12:30 p.m., I finally get my lunch break. I go to the staff break room on the 8th floor. It has comfortable chairs, a microwave, and large windows with a view of Central Park. Many nurses eat lunch here, and we often talk about our morning experiences. I sit with Jennifer, another nurse who works on the surgical floor. She tells me about a patient who had successful heart surgery yesterday. His family was so happy when I told them he was doing well, she says. The daughter started crying tears of joy. We both understand how rewarding it feels to be part of someone's healing process. During lunch, I also call my mother in Puerto Rico. She immigrated to New York when I was a child, but moved back to Puerto Rico after retiring. "How is work today, Mija?" she asks. I tell her about Mrs. Johnson and how I helped her understand her diabetes medications. "You are doing God's work," my mother says, which always makes me feel proud. Afternoon challenges. The afternoon is often the busiest time on our floor. Doctors make their rounds, patients get discharged, and new patients arrive from the emergency room. At 2 p.m., I get a new patient, Miss Davis, who is 28 years old and came to the hospital with a severe kidney infection. Miss Davis is very sick and in a lot of pain. She is also scared because this is her first time being hospitalized. I explain everything I am doing, checking her temperature, blood pressure, and pain level. I also make sure she is comfortable and has water to drink. Kidney infections can be very serious, but with proper treatment, most patients recover completely. While taking care of Miss Davis, Mrs. Johnson calls for help. She tried to get up to use the bathroom and felt dizzy. I help her back to bed and check her blood sugar. It is a little low, which explains the dizziness. I give her some juice and crackers, and she feels better quickly. Family conferences and communication. At 3 p.m., I participate in a family conference for Mr. Rodriguez. His wife and teenage son come to meet with the doctor, social worker, and me. The doctor explains that Mr. Rodriguez needs to make significant lifestyle changes: better diet, regular exercise, and taking blood pressure medication every day. Mr. Rodriguez's wife asks many questions about the medications and diet changes. I provide educational materials in Spanish and English to help the family understand. Their son translates some medical terms that are difficult to understand. I can see that the whole family is committed to helping Mr. Rodriguez stay healthy. After the conference, Mr. Rodriguez thanks me privately. "My family trusts you," he says. "That means a lot to me." Building trust with patients and families is one of the most important aspects of nursing. When people trust you, they are more willing to follow medical advice and take better care of themselves. End of shift preparations. By 6 p.m., I start preparing for the end of my shift. I update all my patient charts on the computer, recording medications given, vital signs, and any changes in their conditions. Documentation is very important in nursing. It helps other nurses continue caring for patients and protects both patients and nurses legally. I also prepare my report for the evening nurse who will take over my patients. I write down important information about each patient's condition, medications due during the night, and any special concerns. Mrs. Chen is still waiting for test results. Miss Davis needs frequent pain assessments, and Mr. Thompson's breathing should be monitored closely. At 7 p.m., I give report to Jessica, the evening nurse. We go through each patient together, and I answer her questions about their care. Jessica has been a nurse for 10 years and is very experienced. I feel confident leaving my patients in her care. Good communication between nurses is essential for patient safety. Saying goodbye to patients. Before leaving, I visit each patient to say goodbye and introduce them to Jessica. Mrs. Johnson is feeling much better and will probably go home tomorrow. Thank you for explaining everything so clearly, she tells me. I feel much more confident about managing my diabetes now. Mr. Rodriguez is also preparing to go home tomorrow. His blood pressure is stable, and he has appointments scheduled with his primary doctor and a cardiologist. I will remember what you taught me about taking care of my health, he promises. I believe he will follow through because his family is very supportive. Mrs. Chen finally received her test results, and they showed that she needs surgery, but it is not immediately life-threatening. She and her daughter are relieved that it is not cancer, which was their biggest fear. The surgery will help you feel better, I assure her. She smiles and squeezes my hand. The journey home. I change out of my scrubs and put on my regular clothes. My feet are tired from walking and standing for 12 hours, but I feel satisfied with the work I accomplished today. I helped 6 patients feel better, educated families about health conditions, and worked as part of a team to provide excellent care. The subway ride home is quieter than the morning commute. I sit by the window and watch the city pass by. New York is such a diverse place, with people from all over the world. In the hospital, I take care of patients who speak different languages, practice different religions, and come from different economic backgrounds. Nursing has taught me to appreciate this diversity. On the train, I think about each patient I cared for today. Mrs. Johnson will go home tomorrow with better knowledge about managing her diabetes. Mr. Rodriguez learned the importance of taking care of his blood pressure. Mrs. Chen has a plan for treating her condition. Miss Davis is feeling better with proper medication for her infection. Arriving home in Queens. I arrive home at 8:30 p.m. Jenny is already there making dinner. She worked a day shift at her hospital in Brooklyn. How was your day? She asks. We sit at our small kitchen table and share stories about our patients while eating pasta and salad. Jenny tells me about a patient who had successful surgery and was able to walk for the first time in months. His wife cried when she saw him standing up, she says. These stories remind us both why we chose nursing as our career, despite the long hours and emotional challenges. After dinner, I take a long, hot bath to relax my tired muscles. I light a lavender candle and listen to calm music. Self-care is very important for nurses because we spend all day taking care of others. If we don't take care of ourselves, we cannot provide good care for our patients. Evening routine and reflection. Before bed, I call my boyfriend Carlos, who lives in Chicago. He is also a healthcare worker. He works as a physical therapist. We have been in a long-distance relationship for 2 years. I'm proud of you for working so hard, he tells me. You make a real difference in people's lives every day. We talk about our plans to live in the same city soon. Carlos is looking for jobs in New York, and I am considering opportunities in Chicago. It is difficult to maintain a relationship when we live so far apart, but we both understand the demands of healthcare careers. I write in my journal for a few minutes before sleep. Today, I wrote about Mrs. Johnson's gratitude, the emergency with Mr. Thompson, and the family conference with Mr. Rodriguez. Writing helps me process the emotions of my day and remember the meaningful moments with patience. Preparing for tomorrow. I set out clean scrubs for tomorrow and pack my lunch. Tomorrow, I will work another 12-hour shift, and I will probably take care of some of the same patients plus some new ones. Mrs. Chen will have surgery. Miss Davis should be feeling much better, and there will be new challenges and rewards. I set my alarm for 5:30 a.m. Even though I usually wake up naturally at that time, I check my phone one last time for any messages from work about tomorrow's schedule. There are no changes, so I know what to expect when I arrive at the hospital. Before falling asleep, I think about my 5 years as a nurse. I have taken care of thousands of patients, worked with hundreds of doctors and nurses, and learned something new almost every day. Some days are harder than others, but I cannot imagine doing any other job. Dreams of nursing. As I fall asleep, I think about why I became a nurse. When I was 12 years old, my grandmother was very sick and spent several weeks in the hospital. The nurses who took care of her were so kind and professional. They explained everything to our family and made my grandmother feel comfortable and safe. I remember one nurse named Patricia, who always took extra time to talk with my grandmother in Spanish. She helped my grandmother feel less scared about being in the hospital. When my grandmother got better and went home, she told me, "Those nurses are angels. They saved my life." That's when I decided I wanted to become a nurse. Now, 15 years later, I hope I am that kind of nurse for my patients. I hope Mrs. Johnson will tell her family that her nurse helped her understand her diabetes. I hope Mr. Rodriguez will remember the education he received about taking care of his heart. I hope Mrs. Chen will feel confident about her surgery because her nurses explained everything clearly. Looking forward to tomorrow. Tomorrow will bring new patients with different medical conditions and personal stories. There will be families to educate, medications to administer, and emergencies to handle. There will also be moments of joy when patients improve, moments of sadness when treatments don't work, and moments of pride when I know I made a difference. I will wake up at 5:30 a.m., put on my scrubs, pack my lunch, and take the subway to Manhattan. I will spend 12 hours caring for people during some of the most difficult times in their lives. And at the end of the day, I will come home tired but satisfied, knowing that I chose a career that truly matters. This is the life of a nurse in New York City. It is challenging, rewarding, exhausting, and meaningful, all at the same time. Every day, I have the opportunity to help people heal, to educate families, and to be part of a healthcare team that saves lives. I am proud to be a nurse, and I cannot wait to see what tomorrow will bring. Good night, New York. Tomorrow I will be back at Mount Sinai Hospital, ready to take care of whoever needs my help. This is my calling, my career, and my passion. I am Maria, and I am a nurse.